All right, hi there. This video is going to be a demonstration of crow pose. Crow, Bakasana, sometimes people call it crane. In calisthenics, people call this like the Frogger shape or something like that. And basically, it's a tucked body hold, balancing on your hands with bent elbows, typically bent elbows. You can take it toward straight arms as well. And in yoga and a lot of body weight work, this is one of the first sorts of arm balances toward inversions that people start to practice. And if you're not used to this kind of thing, start bit by bit, take things as far as you can. I'll show a few variations of the poses. There's no one perfect way to do this. And as you become stronger and more mobile and more versatile, you're going to be able to play around with all the different variations. So don't worry about necessarily getting into the most correct or most perfect version of the pose. And there's always something to work on with this stuff, keep in mind. Now, if you don't normally do this kind of stuff, and what I usually find in yoga classes is a lot of people come in that don't have a whole lot of upper body strength, and they're not used to taking their weight on their hands. And you really want to deal with that first. So see that you bring in as much weight to your hands as you can. Don't even worry about lifting your feet up off the floor coming into this to start. And so to come in crow pose, if you're not really sure if you want to balance on your hands, but you really just want to feel this out, then see about taking weight in your hands. So you're starting from a basic forward fold. Hands about shoulder width distance apart, flatten your palms, grip the floor. And when you're really taking weight in your hands, keep your hands tense and active. You want to hold on to your mat, keep in mind, or hold on to the floor, whatever surface you're on. Now, hips high, lift your heels, and pull your thighs in toward your belly. So you want to find some compression at the hinge of the hips, pulling the thigh in toward your belly as much as you can. And you're trying to get your body curled in tight. Now keep your hips high, walk the feet forward, just touch the knees to the upper arms, and my toes are still on the floor right here. And I'm going to keep my elbows stacked basically over the wrist as I move into this. Now when you move in toward balancing, keep gripping the floor, start to look forward, start to lean, let your shoulders come forward, and this is where it starts to get scary because your face gets closer to the floor. Now if you haven't done this kind of thing before, you may decide that this is enough, and this is plenty. You can stay here. This is a big deal if you're not used to taking a lot of weight in your hands. And just see how far you can lean toward balancing, breathe, and see about holding this for maybe about 15 seconds, 30 seconds, maybe a minute if you want to work your strength a little bit further. Your body should feel tense. Your arms may even start to shake, and that's actually a good sign. Come up out of this when you're done. And you can come back to it and just come in and out of it. And that's a good way to come in and out of that position, get your body used to what you're doing, and stronger over time so that you can start to take more weight in your hands. Now, to take this further, you're going to start to lean more weight forward and move the same direction that I started in here, but coming to the very tips of the toes. Try to lift your feet together if you're going to come into balancing. So again, my hands are about shoulder width. You're going to press into the palms, dig your fingertips down, lift your hips, touch the knees to the upper arms. And then start to look forward, start to lean. Now, my thighs are in toward my belly. I'm keeping my gaze forward. So look at where my elbows are. They stay over the wrist. I'm not backing up because I actually have to lean into balancing. And as my shoulders come forward, I'm going to look forward. I'm looking ahead of myself about 6 to 12 inches. I'm not looking straight down. You want to move forward a little bit. And then right now I'm on the very tips of my toes. I'm going to come just a little bit further, leaning so that my feet lift together. Now to come further, big toes to touch, heels toward your seat, you can hold here. And then just take this to wherever you can and feel things out as best you can. And that's sort of a mid-range version of this pose as far as difficulty goes. Now, if you want to make this harder, then you get the knees higher in toward the armpits and maybe even straighten the arms. And this is a tough one to hold. But if you're going to come into that, knees to the armpits, look forward. Again, you're gripping the floor. Look forward, lean, go slow. No bend in the elbows. And as you lift, pull your heels in toward your seat. Hold this as best you can. And this is an absolutely difficult variation of this pose. Come back down whenever you're ready. And just hold things as best you can. It took me a long time to work toward that, much less being able to hold it while I'm talking, which is actually kind of a big deal, all right? It's not easy to do that while your core is all braced. An easier version, so that would be the difficult extreme. To make this easier, you scale it back and you bring your hips down lower. And even take this further by letting your knees come outside the upper arms rather than setting them on tops of the arms. And so from here, my hands, again, they're on the floor about shoulder width. I'm going to lift my hips, but this time, my feet are toward the center of the mat, so they're close together. Knees outside my arms, and I'm going to squeeze my knees in to the upper arms. Now start to look forward, start to lean. Again, you have to let your shoulders come forward, come high on your toes. And then you can just start to flatten this out. And then if you move this in toward balancing, basically you're just perching yourself on your upper arms. Keep your legs squeezed in, and this is going to keep you stable here, keep in mind. And try to keep your gaze forward. And then you can always come back down. And keep in mind, there's a bunch of variations of moving in and out of this, and there's transitions where you can hop things back. You can even take it up toward a handstand. All that takes time. So you have to come into this hold with some frequency and really just feel it out as best you can. And if you're just starting with your toes on the floor, you can get there, keep in mind. But if you start practicing this more days than not, say 4 days a week, and just try to hold this for an accumulated 1 minute to 2, you'll be shocked at how much your body starts to strengthen and how much more accessible this pose becomes. Thank you.